Vanguard Media,
a mainstream urban AC.
an original trendsetter with authentic culture. VanguardMediaLLC.com.
Coming to you straight from Houston, Texas. Lisa Denae Live. Real talk for the real world.
Hey, it's your girl Lisa Denae, and we are here live on Stunner Radio, brought to you by Vanguard Media. And I hope you guys are having a great day because I know that I am. And we are here in the studio with the one and only Beth Veals. Hey, Beth.
Hey, Lisa.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
And I am so excited because this month, October, is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And most of my guests coming through in October are survivors of domestic violence. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Some of it's going to be kind of heavy, but don't worry. We're going to lighten it up. You know I always do. So how have you been, Beth? How's it been going?
I've been doing really well. I just completed my book, Writing My Story.
Awesome.
Saving Alexis. It was supposed to be ready October 1st, but I was waiting on the cover, so got a little bit delayed, but
that's
one of the
awesome.
projects. Thank you.
Yes, that's amazing. It's a labor of love writing a book.
Yes.
It is no joke. So you guys, since we last seen each other, y'all's president was positive for coronavirus. And what we knew from everything that we've been hearing in the news is that you're supposed to quarantine for 14 days. However, he is back and says he's feeling better than he has in 20 years. And he's holding an event tonight. So everybody that's going to that event, I hope that you wear a mask. I hope that you protect yourself. I feel like this is foolish. This is selfish. Or either he lied. He never had coronavirus. Something is going on. I don't know, but it don't feel right, don't sound right to me. Also, since the last time we saw each other, body cam footage was released of the Breonna Taylor case. Now, this is not the body cam of the raid. This is body cam of the officers that responded on the scene immediately after the raid. Now, if you are like me and you're kind of sensitive in your spirit, do not watch this footage. Trust me. You will feel really bad in your soul when the officers look at Breonna Taylor's body laying there and they say, oh, okay, yeah, she's done. She's done after they check her pulse. It was kind of like pulling food out the oven saying it's done.
Wow.
It was no empathy, no compassion. Now, I understand that's their job. And sometimes they become desensitized to stuff like that. But it's just very hard to watch. Realizing that's a human being.
Exactly.
And they just keep walking past her body like it's nothing. And, oh, she's done. I don't even know how to feel about that, but it made me feel some type of way. So if you are like me, I suggest don't watch it. Just take my word for it. Also, we have started to get more details on the shooting of Jonathan Price that happened right here in the state of Texas, in Wolf City, Texas. This was a black man that was also unarmed, and he was shot by a police officer after the police officer tased him. Now, the good thing in this story, we're going to talk about this later in our top 5 fails and top 5 wins of the week. The good thing about this, the officer has been charged with murder. So at least we get some sense of justice, but let's just see if he's convicted. He's been charged with murder. So it's still sad because if you look at this young man, he was trying to help people out, trying to break up a fight, a domestic incident. And he already got tased. So how can the officer feel fear for his life when you tase somebody? I don't know. It sounds funny to me. But again, we are faced with this situation once again as black people in this country. I don't know how y'all feel, but I feel like at this point, we all traumatized. We all got PTSD, and we all need a check. So I'm gonna need some lawyer to put together some class action suit. We need to be compensated for this trauma because it really is traumatizing every time you see it. And I don't know about you all, but if you're black and a police officer pull up behind you, your heart start racing. And maybe not just black people your heart start racing. But I know my heart start racing. Yes. Even when you know you haven't done anything. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm saying? When you know you haven't done anything, you just feel like, am I gonna make it out of this situation alive? I mean, we shouldn't have to feel that way.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, let's hope that this work this out. We can make a change to this somehow. So before we get into our interview with Beth, I want to remind everybody that early voting starts on October 13th. That's this week, y'all. So get a plan, grab a friend, go to the polls. Yes, Tuesday. That is right. Let's go, you guys. Let's get a plan, ride together, make a whole day of it. Now, I don't have anybody to go with as of yet. I'm going alone. So I am opening up, an invitation. If anybody wants to go vote early with me, preferably a male, preferably single, preferably fine. Just putting that out there. Just in case you want to go vote early, I'm available. So if you need information here in Harris County, go to harrisvotes.org. In other parts of the country, you can go to harrisvotes.com for us, harrisvotes.com. If you're in other parts of the country, go to vote.org to find out everything you need to know about voting. Listen, educate yourself. You can't vote on a straight ticket anymore. You need to know who is for you and your issues. So you have some time, get on that interweb. Y'all be on there anyway. Educate yourself so that you can vote for the right person. Because if we get another term of Donald Trump, I don't even much know what I'm going to do. I'm be like, hello, Canada. I'm just something. I can't take it. I don't know about y'all, but I ain't going to be able to do it. So anyway, that is that. Hope you guys start the early voting. Don't wait till the last minute. So we are here once again, like I said, with Beth Veals, and she is an advocate for domestic violence awareness and also an author.
Yay.
So congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Domestic violence. So many people, when they hear domestic violence, they kind of cringe. They don't want to really talk about it. And for whatever reason, there's all these misconceptions about it. So tell me from your experience, what did you experience with domestic violence?
With domestic violence, mine was primarily physical abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, I think that most, like with physical abuse, you probably are almost always going to have that emotional and verbal abuse,
right,
because while they're beating you, they're going to be yelling other things to you.
Yes.
Like, you're not good enough. Why are you? And in my instance, it was always, why are you really with me? You're too good for me. And it's
wow.
Yeah. And so you're like, okay, if I didn't want to be with you, I wouldn't be with you.
Right.
But mine was primarily just physical abuse.
Okay. Yeah. And like you said, there's so many different areas of abuse that a lot of people don't even understand. Most people think it's just physical. But like you said, it could be verbal, mm-hmm, emotional, even spiritual, financial, yes, sexual.
Exactly.
So many types of abuse. Tina J. Lewis says, hey, beautiful, so proud of you. Thank you so much, Tina, for tuning in. So listen, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. When people think of domestic violence, some of the misconceptions, that's what I want us to get into now. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people feel like, well, you must have been weak, to let somebody put their hands on, mm-hmm, you, or you must can't fight, mm-hmm, or all these things. What are the misconceptions that you feel people thought in your case?
Mm-hmm. When mine happened, I was in the military. Okay. However, I never reported it to the military. But my first beating was out in the open in the broad daylight, where I was standing talking to a friend. And then my husband at the time just, why are you talking to him, or whatever the case is, and just ran and just started beating me. That was the first, I never even knew what domestic violence was.
Right.
Had not even heard of domestic violence. And you do have those people, what did you do to cause him to beat you? Most times it's nothing that you can do to cause someone to beat you. You might, walk in the door and speak to someone and they not like it.
Right.
And I feel like it has nothing to do with, okay, you don't know how to fight. In my situation, I was raised that you don't fight.
Right.
However, that's not in domestic violence, but this is just in general.
Yeah.
You don't fight, you don't, and it's just like, okay, so that was in my head or whatever, but I never wanted to fight that because I don't believe in hitting people or mistreating people. So that's never a thought that comes in or came into my mind in my situation. So it's like, I think my immediate thing was just like, and I had just delivered my daughter.
Oh, wow.
That's where the title come from, Saving Alexis. So,
wow.
that was not going to be a life that I was going to live, because I'm not going to raise a daughter to think that this is the way a man is supposed to treat you. Right. You know, and it doesn't have anything to do with why don't you fight back or anything like that. You don't want to fight back, you know, in my case. Right. But it takes you, I mean, by surprise in most cases, because I've never seen it. And that's the thing. Most people don't understand. A lot of times it's not provoked. Yeah. So you just tripping like, what? Mm-hmm. Why would you do that? You're in a state of shock. Yeah. And sometimes people feel like, well, you know, it's the classic case of we arguing, we fighting, and then we vote. No, sometimes it is so unprovoked that you really are standing there in a state of shock, like, what just happened? Exactly. Like once I remember, like, and he worked off and on or whatever, but you have to read the book. But I mean, I remember one day we went to a store and I got out of the store to go and get a Coke, and someone spoke to me going into the store. Mm-hmm. By the time I came out of the store, he was in an altercation with someone and he just slapped me. Wow. You know, and then people driving down the street, he just slapped that. Oh, I'm like, wow. And I'm in a uniform, you know, and I'm like, wow. You know. So with the military, was he in the military also? He was not. I see, this is the part that I feel like needs to be addressed, because if you would have turned him in or reported him, there would have been consequences. Yes, it would have. But a lot of times we try to protect the person also because we love them, and then also we don't really feel like it's real. Yeah. It really got to register in your mind that it's really happening. And see, that's the thing. And you said protect the person. That was never in my mind. It was just like, I think for me, it may have been an embarrassment type of deal. Yeah, of course. Like even like I said, I never reported it to the military. I told family first. I remember telling my parents before I told anybody. You know, and that was just my support system there. Like, but I always knew it wasn't going to be a situation I was going to stay in. But to try and get out of it safely, you endure stuff. Yes, because you know. Okay, see, this is why I'm really happy that you're here, because I really need people to understand. Some people feel like once the first incident happened, you could just leave. No. Because you don't know what to expect next. Especially when you're dealing with a person like what you described. Yeah. That's how my ex-husband was. It was unprovoked. It didn't make sense. So in your head, you're trying to rationalize it and figure out what happened. Yeah. And really, sometimes you even think, did that really happen? And that was it. You know, and you're trying to figure it out first. Yes. Before you make a move. Okay, what really happened? What triggered this incident? Can we fix this? What's going on? You don't really know what to do. Exactly. And I think it's wonderful that you told your family, because some people deal with the embarrassment so bad they don't tell nobody. Exactly. Because and they take all those beatings in silence. Yes, because it is embarrassing, because at first you feel like, what did I do to cause this? Exactly. And I remember like writing a book even and talking to people like, what do you remember back then? And I asked my best friend, and I'm like, okay, so what was your take? She was like, you really didn't talk back then. You didn't talk about that. And I'm like, wow. And this is a person that, you know, over the years, we know everything about each other's life. And for me, not just, she was like, I remember once you had a black eye and you told me you had a car accident. So those are the type of things you do. Yeah. And, extents that you go to just hide that stuff. Right. You know, for whatever reason, my reason for not talking about it or turning him in, or even like his cousin was with him when this happened, right, that day. They both just left me there at the bottom of the stairs. Wow. And why didn't he, you know, this is the things I'm thinking about now when I was writing the book. Why didn't he say anything? Why didn't this friend say anything? Because they witnessed this. Right. You know, and I just got up, picked myself up, and went home. Well, you know, I like what you said about not really telling people you didn't talk back then, or you made an excuse, because a lot of times we just don't know what to say. Yeah. I know that in my situation, I was known as a fighter. So I was kind of embarrassed to tell somebody that somebody put their hands on me, because they already know me from my background. I know she's not going to let nobody put their hands on her. So I felt like, how could I even say this happened to me? Yeah. Because everybody going to be shocked. Like, you, not you. But everyone had, like, if they could take a walk in your shoes. Yes. Until you can do that, you never can say what you would do in a situation. Right. Absolutely. You never can say that. Right. You know, you're on the outside looking in, you know, you're not going home and behind closed doors, this person is beating you to within an inch of your life sometimes.
Yeah.
Or choking you till you pass out. You don't know. So
Right.
until you say that, you've been through this, you can't tell me what's good. No, ask me why, why did he beat me?
I don't know. Right. Like, if
I'm
I
not
knew that.
Yeah. Ask me why he didn't see me for me and who I was and what I brought to the table.
Right.
And
that is the thing that we do. Sometimes we beat ourselves up trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
Why did this happen? Especially if it happens with more than one person.
Yeah.
If you leave a relationship and then you get in another relationship and it happens again, of course you start thinking, it's me.
It has to be. Or whatever you're giving that's attracting that type of person to you. Because I remember, like, after I had left that relationship, and I moved from Mississippi to Michigan, I got away, But I remember, like, one of the first people or persons that I met after the fact, it was like we were just sitting around playing, and he pushed me off of the couch, and I was like, no. Yeah. No.
Don't even play like that. Right.
I broke that off right away. No, you're not. No.
I know, because I was talking to a guy recently, and he probably gonna kill me for saying this, but I'm just gonna tell it. He was joking though. And I said, because I had my purple hair on last week for domestic violence awareness. And he was like, oh, what if I domestically violate you? What color would that be? And to me, he thought it was a joke, but for me, it wasn't cool.
Exactly.
I said, it'll probably be red for your blood or black for your death.
Yes.
Because, see, we don't play that no more.
Exactly.
Okay? Yes. We go all the way from 0 to 100 real quick.
For real. Yes.
And then he saw how serious it was. Like, I was just playing. I wasn't talking about a real violation. And I was like, but don't even play like that.
That's the thing that they don't understand, though. Like, I had started this book a couple times and put it down. And the last time when someone I loved and say they love me, he was like, but for real, what did you do to make him beat you? Wow. I got hot.
Yeah.
To the point I had to walk away hot. Don't ever ask me that question, because you don't have to do anything. You could be sitting here playing with the kid, and whatever his day has, whatever he's gonna do in his day, he's gonna take out on you for no reason.
And I think with all the police shootings that we see, I think it may give people a glimpse into our world, because just like when a person gets shot by the police, what's the first thing people say? What did they do?
Exactly.
Was they running? Did they have a gun? No, they didn't do nothing. They was just profiled. Exactly. The police was a racist or whatever the case may be. You don't have to do nothing for somebody to violate you. Exactly. It's the same with domestic violence. It's the person. If they have a problem, there's nothing that you can do.
Exactly. And most times they have seen this happen. He once told me, I don't know why you're crying every time I beat you. If it was my mom, she would take a knife and cut us. And I'm like, so what would it take for me to kill you or cut you to stop?
See, and that's a good point. That's a good point you raised, because he saw that growing up. And so he probably thought that was normal. And he also probably wanted you to fight him back.
And he did, because he was a fighter. I mean, not even with me, but just he fought people.
Yeah. So he had some issues.
Yes.
And so I had one like that too, where even my family told me, look, you're just gonna have to treat him like a in. I can't say the word.
Yeah.
And I said, first of all, I didn't get in a relationship to have to treat somebody like that.
No.
And if that's how I have to treat him, this ain't for me.
It's not.
And I don't want to live like that. If a person can't respect you and be in a loving relationship, that's not for you.
That's not. So, because it takes too much energy.
Yes, it takes a lot of energy.
And it takes you away from you.
It changes you.
Yeah.
It changes who you are. If you got to always come home and you on guard for what's going to happen next, and you feeling like we might have to fight.
Exactly. And then put a child into the equation. That's
what makes it even harder.
You're taking this so that they don't have to take it, but then who's to say one day it's not gonna? And that was my breaking point.
I wanted to talk about that. That was my breaking
point. When you picked up my daughter and said, "Look at your mom, she ain't," and dropped her.
Yeah.
And as I'm diving to the floor to catch her, you catch me with a steel toe boot.
Oh wow.
That was my breaking point. I always kept mace in my pocket and never used it. Too scared to use it.
That's what I was going to ask you next. What was the turning point for you? What was your breaking point? Because a lot of times we want to try to make it work, try to figure out what's going on. And it's not just easy to just pick up and leave.
It's not.
Especially when if you make a mistake in your escape plan, you got so much more to deal with.
You do.
If you don't leave for sure.
And for some women, even unto death.
Yes, because that's the most dangerous time when you're trying to leave them.
Exactly.
That is the most dangerous time.
And did you just see the story that was just today or yesterday where the 3-year-old got shot and killed because the mom?
I did not see that.
They were having a domestic dispute. She left with the child and went to her ex-boyfriend's house or something. I think it was reported. And then the boyfriend showed up and shot the mom in the leg. The mom isn't dead, but your 3-year-old is gone.
And that's sad. I mean, and that's all the things that go through your head. Because, like you said, you don't want to take it to your family's house, so if some folks don't care.
Exactly. And for me, it's like that can happen. You leave and you go to a family's home or a friend's home. It can come there and get violent.
Yes.
And something bad happens.
And something can happen to them.
Yeah.
Even at your job.
Exactly.
And that's what people don't understand. When you are in a situation like this, you have a lot to think about. You can't just think about yourself and think about just, I'm gonna run, I'm gonna get it out. You have to think about your surroundings. You have to think about the fact that they will come up to your job and show out at your job. It doesn't matter, especially when you're dealing with somebody really crazy. Yeah. So for your turning point, it was your daughter. So what advice would you give to a person that is in an abusive relationship right now?
I would always say find someone that you can talk to, someone trustworthy that you can talk to, at least to get it out, to get it out and not keep it in. But then in terms of leaving, you're going to have a plan.
Yes.
You're going to have a plan, or you're going to pray for a divine intervention.
Yes.
Because I can say when I finally left, it was a divine intervention for me. Because of course, I'm planning to leave. I'm not going to stay here. I am going to leave, but mine just so happened that I always had a premonition. If he gets me caught in this room, he's going to kill me here. And that day when I came home, talking about you don't have to do anything. I came home, me and my daughter. This day he was at my house because he was there off and on, just here, there, and everywhere. And so that day when I got home, he and a group of friends were just standing on like my porch or whatever, in the front of my apartment, right? And I got out the car, I spoke like a group, hey, how y'all doing, or something like that, right? And then his friend picked up my daughter and was just playing with her and then gave her to me. And then he said, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm fine, how are you? That was just like one-on-one. And he just slapped me and said, in the house and I'll be in a minute to deal with you.
And it's crazy how his friend would sit there.
And they left.
Wow.
And so I went on in the house and I'm trying to get her in her room, in the bed and everything, take her bath and in the bed before he came in. And he caught me in that room. And then and I'm not going to tell you everything that happened there because, again, it's in the book.
Right.
But it was a knock on the door and it was the police.
Wow.
Now, mind you, none of my neighbors were home.
Wow.
So one of them had to have called the police.
Yes, that is a divine intervention.
Yeah. And that was the last time that was it.
And that's a blessing because, it could have ended it way different.
Oh, and the other thing is that kept him in there, he tried to jump on the police.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That must have been some years ago. We already know what would have happened.
Of course.
Nowadays.
Of course. Yes.
Wow.
Oh, that was his divine intervention back then.
Yes, indeed. Well, for me, in the most toxic relationship I had with my first marriage, I had to get a protection order. And
it's so hard to get those.
Oh, yes. When I first went to get one, they say you don't have no bruises, there's no police report, so we're not going to give it to you.
And you haven't been terroristically threatened. I hate that.
Yes. I will never forget. At the time I was living in the state of Ohio, I will never forget. I just told the DA, because that's who you have to go to there. I said to them, all I need you to do is write down my name and the date that I was here, because I guarantee you, if he put his hands on me again, there will be a body attached to my name, because I am not having it. Exactly. I'm going to put him in the ground. And I started walking out, and the secretary said, ma'am, they want you to come back. And they gave me that protection order. Because I was not playing. I was dead serious. And I said, it's going to be on you, because I came and I asked you all to help me. And so when I got that, I got a protection order for 7 years. And I still moved around because I still felt like, let me not even tempt, this situation. But I hated that I had to get to the point of no fear of a homicide. I was ready to go to, I was ready to do whatever.
See, and
I was tired.
Exactly.
That was after 11 years.
Wow.
11 years. And so I look back on it now and I can't even imagine taking that for that long.
Exactly.
I can't even imagine it. But I think I'm glad that I did because it helps me to understand other people in it.
Yes.
I probably would have been judgmental thinking, oh, she should just leave. It's not that easy.
It's not that easy ever. It's not. You hear too many stories of women trying. I mean, half of us may leave, half of us,
And you see so many stories in the news of women that are killed by their husband and their boyfriend.
Yes.
I mean,
and then right now with COVID,
yes, the numbers are skyrocketing.
Yes.
And you can't help but feel sad, but also you can't help but be grateful because it could have been you.
Exactly.
It could have been you.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you for coming here today and telling us some of your story. I know it is not easy to talk about. And it's not easy to talk about, and sometimes it never goes away.
Exactly.
Every time we talk about it, I feel like it was yesterday. So I appreciate it. Tell us how people can find you and follow you, and what information about the book.
Okay, for now, I'm just gonna give an email address.
Okay.
Marie.jones14@yahoo.com. Marie.jones14@yahoo.com.
Okay, and we will definitely share that with everyone. Also, once again, thank you so much for being here.
Welcome.
I hope that you will stay. We're just going to do some discussion. We're going to discuss a little bit. And if we have time after the top 5 fails and top 5 wins of the week, I want to give a little bit of information of domestic violence prevention, because we want to talk to people about how these things can be prevented. But at this moment,
awareness is going to be key.
Definitely, awareness is key. At this moment, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with the top 5 fails of the week.
Coming to you straight from Houston, Texas. Lisa Denae Live. Real talk for the real world.
Body, offering products made with real, pure, simple, plant-based ingredients that are good for your skin from head to toe. Lizzie's believes that everyone deserves to have access to quality, affordable, and natural products. Visit www.productsbylizzie.com.
Coming to you straight from Houston, Texas. Lisa. 5 fails of the week coming up next on Lisa Denae Live. Real talk for the real world.
Hey, we are back, and it's the top 5 fails of the week. And let me just tell you, this week is going to be kind of sad. I'm not going to lie to you. Usually I try to keep it light and funny, but we've had some things that happened this week that there's no laughing matter. But I still need to talk about it. So number 5 on my list for the top 5 fails of the week, the FBI this week released its murder map. I don't know if you keep a track of this, but I kind of do. I like to know where the most murderous people live so I can avoid that location. So this week they released their annual murder map. And let me just say, pat on the back for Houston, because Houston was only number 47. Out of 65 cities that hit the map, Houston was 47. With my hometown, Chicago, being number 16, which, I'm not happy about that. But the number 1 city on the map was St. Louis, Missouri. So it's kind of surprising to hear that, because when you think of St. Louis, you wouldn't think the murder capital. But the reason why it's a fail is because I want you guys to realize that the media really shows you what they want to show you. If I would have asked anybody, who's the number 1? Who you think would be number 1? Everybody would have said Chicago, because of what you see on the news. And I always have to defend my city because, it landed at number 16, but it wasn't number 1, okay? St. Louis, Missouri was number 1. Houston, we could do a little better, but I'm glad we were, a little further down the list at 47. So number 4 on my top 5 fails of the week, a fly landed on the head of Vice President Pence during the vice presidential debate. The reason why I call this a fail is because nobody heard what he was saying during the time the fly was on his head. The fly got more attention than his comments about white supremacy. And I really wasn't happy about that. He was talking about systemic racism, and he said that, It doesn't exist. There's no systemic racism, which we all know what there is. There's a history of systemic racism in this country. But that fly, everybody was going crazy about the fly. Now, I don't know what the big deal was. Okay, it was a fly on his head. He got white hair, so you could really see it really good. But you know, he had a whole lot of product in his hair. That's what it was. The fly was attracted to whatever that product was in his hair. And I would love for you guys to go back and watch the clip of that, because you need to really hear what he was saying. Don't be so distracted by the fly. And that's why it's number 4, because you guys got so distracted. You didn't even hear what he said. Top 5 fails of the week. Number 4, the fly on his head. Number 3, this one is crazy. 13 people, you guys, were charged this week in a plot, a domestic terrorism plot to kidnap the Michigan governor. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like President Trump has made some of these people so bold and so weird. The alleged group were planning to overthrow several state governments. Like, they really been plotting and planning. Now, you all know where this is coming from. You know where this is coming from. So when President Trump tweeted about this incident, he did not condemn the actions of the kidnappers, but instead he criticized the governor of Michigan, saying she's done a terrible job in her state. I mean, this is what we have to look forward to, you guys, if this man gets 4 more years in office. Are you going to be next to be kidnapped? I mean, are you going to be next to be, at one of these weird rallies with these people? I don't know, but I won't be, because I'm getting out to vote, and hopefully we can make a change here. For number 2 on my list is you all's president, for saying that he will not participate in the next presidential debate because it's going to be done virtually. Now, here's my issue with him. We all got to do stuff virtually right now. How dare you get an attitude because you got to do a debate virtually? You're the one who announced you had coronavirus. Don't nobody want to be in a room with you. We don't know how this is spread, man. Over 200,000 people have died in our country behind this. So yes, it needs to be virtual. And if you have a problem with that, I don't know what to say. I mean, I think it's a fail on his part. That's why it's number 2. Anybody who has kids know virtual school is hard. It is extremely hard. You don't have any school age kids, do you, Beth? Let me tell you something. I got school age kids, and this virtual schooling has been the hardest thing ever. I think I'm gonna need a check behind this. I think the school board need to cut us some checks, because it's a whole job. And of course, we don't want to do it, but we have to. And another reason why he's number 2 on my list is because he is also stating that there will be no stimulus package until the election, till after the election. So basically, he holding y'all little $1,200 hostage. So, I mean, for all of you that still want to support this man, think about it. And most of you all are not even in a tax bracket that can afford to not get that $1,200. I'm just saying, I'm gonna need mine. I don't know about y'all, but I want mine. So he's number 2 on my list. Now, number 1, I'm gonna take a little time with this one because this one is really sad. It is the mother of Malia Bass. That's what she has made my number 1 on the top 5 fails of the week, because not only did she fail her daughter, she failed the city of Houston, because so many people were out looking for this baby, and you already knew you killed her. Yeah. So many people were praying for you and sympathizing for you, and you already knew that you were the one that killed your own child.
And that smile she had on her face when that picture
with your mugshot smiling. And that is forever. Yeah. We're all going to see that forever, no matter what she does to change her life from this point on. That's the image that everybody is going to remember, is the fact that you were arrested and charged with murder of your own child, and you sat there and smiled. That's why she's number 1 on my list. Now, according to the court documents, the body, after the body was found, they confessed. So the boyfriend confessed. Of course, y'all seen them on the news. At first, they didn't confess initially. They changed their story several times. And I had it in my spirit. I knew they were lying. Because if you're a mother, you know how it is.
Yeah,
you're not really. First of all, you're not leaving your child outside while you're cooking breakfast. Secondly, you're not at every photo op and every camera and every interview because your heart is broken. So you're not at every interview with your bonnet on your head. Anyway, but not at every interview. And the boyfriend was suspect from the very beginning because he had no tears with all this theatrics. There was no tears coming out of his eyes. But what really hurts my heart is that the autopsy report showed that she had a broken left forearm and extensive blunt force trauma in the form of a loop pattern, like a hanger or something. Now, according to the boyfriend, the court documents say that he said the mother beat her with a brush. Now, a brush is not going to break your arm. I don't know what kind of brush that is, but a brush is not going to break your arm. So this baby to have a broken arm and this blunt force trauma, they say that they locked her in a broom closet or whatever overnight because I guess as a punishment, this is his story. And when they woke up, she was dead. So for me, I feel like it's really sad that people resort to violence with their children. And this is something that I talk about a lot when we talk about domestic violence prevention is don't beat your kids. This child was a toddler. What in the world could a toddler do that deserved getting beat like that? Nothing. I don't care if you took a marker and wrote all over my money. I don't care if you found some money and threw it in the toilet and flushed it. I don't care what you did. A toddler can't do anything that deserves this type of treatment. So that is why she lands on my list this week as the #1 fail of the week. Now, it's a win for the justice system because I'm glad that they got them out of there. I'm glad they got them out of there. But for her, it's a fail. It's a fail for all of us. And you know what? The reason why it's also a fail is because the next child come up missing, we all looking sideways at the parents.
Exactly.
And we don't care if you guilty or innocent. We're looking at you first because this happens too much. And it was really hurtful for us in Houston because she had the same name as the other baby, Malia. And it's just like a flashback of how we all went through with this baby. And now this other baby coming up being killed at the hands of her parents, even though, her mother and her mother's boyfriend. So that's the top 5 fails of the week. Now, I don't want to end my show on a sad note, so we'll be right back with the top 5 wins of the week after this.
Be unique.
Coming to you straight from Houston, Texas. Lisa Denae Live. Real talk for the real world.
Party, A Touch of Honey by Chantel offers amazing balloon displays and personalized party favors. Visit their website at www.touchohoney.com and tell them Stoner Radio sent you.
All I do is win, no matter what. We're winning with the top 5 wins of the week on Lisa Denae Live. Real talk for the real world.
It's the top 5 wins of the week, and let me tell you something. There was a lot of good things that happened this week. Don't be fooled. Just because we didn't see it in the media don't mean it didn't happen. It's a lot of people that were doing good things this week. For one, even though I didn't put her on the list, Kamala Harris made history by being the first Black woman to participate in a vice presidential debate. That's big, you guys. That's huge. And she really held her own. I think, we all can relate to her having to say, I'm speaking. Yes. At some point in your life, somebody tried to talk over you. And I was really glad that she got him together without looking like the quote unquote angry Black woman. She just did what she had to do and she still kept her professional. Exactly. So that definitely was a win. But number 5 on my top 5 wins of the week is one of my favorite authors, Walter Mosley, made history this week for becoming the first Black man to receive the National Book Award Lifetime Achievement, which is really ridiculous. After all these years, should have been more Black people. He's the first in 2020. I mean, can you believe we still got first in 2020? A Black anything? But anyway, he's known for his best-selling series, Mysteries, featuring Detective Easy Rollins. Now, I don't know about y'all, but one of the books was made into a movie, The Devil in the Blue Dress. I don't know if you ever saw that, but check it out on Netflix or wherever it may be available, starring Denzel Washington and Don Cheadle. It's a really good movie. So congratulations to Walter Mosley for making history this week. Number 4 on my list of top 5 wins was Jay-Z. Again, made the list. Last week, he made the list for some legislation that he may happen in California. This week, because he bonded out several protesters who were protesting in Wisconsin, after authorities didn't charge the police officer who killed Alvin Cole, including Alvin Cole's mother. He bonded her out too. So shout out to Jay-Z. That's a big deal. And a lot of people do these things quietly. And that's why I like to recognize them on the top 5 wins of the week. Number 3, JP Morgan Chase. Now I need y'all to listen to this because JP Morgan Chase has announced that they are committing $30 billion. That's billion with a B, to shrink the racial wealth gap. Now, these are their words, so now we need to hold them to this. They are saying that the commitment will be over the next 5 years. It will come in the form of loans, equity, and direct funding to promote affordable housing. And they're saying this is dedicated to the Black and Latino-owned businesses and the Black and Latino communities to gain access to banking and communities of color and build a more diverse workforce. This is what they're saying they're going to do over the next 5 years. So we have to hold them to it. JP Morgan Chase, if you're looking for a loan, a business loan, home equity loan, we need to go and start applying since they're saying they're committing $30 billion. Now, their statement said for Black and Latino business owners. I guess they left out the Asians. I don't know. But for me, I feel like it should be for all people of color. Yeah. I mean, I'm really rooting for my own people too. Yes. But at the same time, I would feel some type of way if I was Asian. Yeah. I would be like, well, what about us? I mean, I know we do our own businesses, but at the same time, I need a loan too. So JP Morgan Chase, thank you for that commitment. Hope you stick to it. And I hope that if you have an account with them, you go and make an application, apply for a loan, see if they are really about what they're talking about. So number 2 on my list for the top 5 wins of the week is my man LeBron James is going to be finally featured on a box of Wheaties. Now, I know we lost last night, and y'all know I was awfully quiet. Every time we win, I come in here, hey, with a lot of noise. I was a little bit quiet today, but it's going to be all right because we are going to win the championship. But get your Wheaties on because our man LeBron has finally been given the cover, the box of Wheaties. And all I can say is it's about time. Yes. It is about time. Y'all put somebody on the box that really, really need to be there. I might have to start eating Wheaties again. So number 1 for my top 5 win of the week is Sean Lucas, the white officer that killed Jonathan Price, was not only charged with murder, but he was fired from the police force this week. That's a big win for us because we have seen so many times where that does not happen. They not only get their pension, they don't even get charged. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like they get a paid vacation for killing a Black man. Exactly. So in this case, it's a win for us. And I hope that we really see it that way because they didn't take no time charging him with murder. So I'm so happy that this happened. So right now, we are going to be right back with a wrap up. We're going to give you a few tips as we have time for domestic violence prevention, but we'll be right back after this. Are you?
Coming to you straight from Houston, Texas. Lisa Denae Live. Real talk for the real world.
Thunder merch today. We are
coming to you straight from Houston, Texas. Lisa Denae Live. Real talk for the real world.
Domestic violence prevention in the few minutes that we have left. Beth, give us some tips that you can give people for preventing domestic violence.
Have talks with your daughters. Or, guys even, because, we know 1 in 7 guys are abused in their lifetime, too.
Yes, that's a pretty high number.
Yeah, and that's something we don't talk about.
Right.
But, yeah, my thing is just to make the kids aware, women aware, because, sometimes it's, women that's older that have gotten into it for the first time.
Yes.
But just awareness is key for me because, I talked to my daughter about it now and she's like, and I hid it from her because I was that woman that was like, I'm going to let them have their relationship.
Right.
And I should have been telling her. So this couldn't happen to her.
Right.
But, and that's another story for another day. That's one of the reasons I'm like, okay, maybe if I had have told her, she wouldn't have gone through something.
Right.
But,
well, I think another tip is to not take it personally.
Yes.
Because whatever this person, this abuser has going on with them, that's not your issue.
It's not.
It's their
issue. You
issue.
shouldn't take it on.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we do take it on. But we have to understand, mental health issues are huge right now.
They
are.
And
a lot of people are dealing with them.
Exactly.
And so because a person puts their hand on you, there's something really wrong with them. And you can't take it personally and feel like, what did I do?
And
what's wrong with me?
It.
And you certainly cannot fix it. The only thing you can do is move on.
Yes.
And I think a good tip that I like to tell people too is do not run past the red flags or the red lights. Don't run the red lights.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you see some signs.
Yes.
And you just feel like, well, I don't want to judge this person.
And I was asked that question. You didn't see anything. I didn't know what to look for.
Exactly. And sometimes you don't know what to look for. And that's why it's good for people like you and me to talk about the things that you need to look for. I feel like controlling behavior is one of the biggest red flags.
That is the main one, I think.
And it starts small.
Yeah.
It can start small, like, what are you doing? Oh, that's an awfully long phone call. Who are you talking to?
Exactly.
Or did your meeting last that long at work? I know you said you was in a meeting. Those are some red flags.
Exactly.
Because it already tells you the person doesn't believe what you told them. They don't trust you. And they control you.
And without trust, there's nothing.
There's nothing. And then I think, another thing that I would tell people when it comes to domestic violence prevention is take your time. Whatever the reason, everybody rushes into marriages, they rush into relationships, and sometimes a person not going to really show you who they are in the first year, sometimes in the first 2 years.
Exactly.
So it's okay to take your time. I think now that I'm older, I'm really on slow motion.
Exactly.
I'm on slow motion.
Yeah.
You might meet me and I don't really even let you in till a year from now. Like we're not even, that serious till a year from now. And I really would suggest that most people should do that.
And then to just know yourself.
Yes.
Know yourself. And I mean, there are so many times when a person may be the person that's your friend, but shouldn't be your mate.
Right.
But know yourself.
That is a really good one, because when you know yourself and you love yourself enough to be alone, you don't settle.
Exactly.
And it's easy to walk away.
Yeah.
And also, let me give this one more tip, because I know a lot of people are stuck in these relationships due to financial reasons. Have your own money.
Exactly.
That cannot be understated.
It can't.
You got to have your own money.
You have to.
And sometimes people get in these relationships and marriage and it immediately mix their money. I'm so against that. Yeah, I'm so against that.
I am.
I don't even care if you love the person. It's beside the point. The point is you have to have your own emergency money.
Exactly.
You have to have your own backup money. Anything. You got to have your own money that only you have access to.
Exactly.
And that is one of my biggest tips, because when you got your own money, if somebody start acting crazy, you could just, make a reservation. Hello, Hilton.
Exactly.
I'm going to be there tonight.
Yeah.
And you ain't got to put up with nothing.
Exactly.
Nobody got to know where you at. You can catch an Uber. You don't have to even take your car. If you think they're going to look for your car, because you know they do.
Yeah.
And sometimes people track you. They track your phone. They track your car. So, but when you have your own little emergency fund, you can get you an Uber. And you don't have to be tracked. You can even have a backup phone.
Exactly. And recently I heard someone say that they wanted to leave. They can't leave because if they left, they know that their youngest son is going to tell him where they are. And it's just like they have that mind control over the kids even.
That is a big one. But, when you know your kids and you have a plan, like we said before, you just tell the kids where you going, but don't really tell them where you're going.
Yeah.
So even if they tell that person, they gonna give them wrong information.
Exactly.
So you gotta know your kids and know what to say to your kids.
Exactly.
Because kids don't really know, especially at a certain age.
Yeah.
Now, if they pass 10, that's a little difficult.
Exactly.
But younger than 10, you can tell them anything. We going to the zoo. We going to Auntie Susie's house.
Yeah.
You can say, well, don't say Auntie Susie because we're gonna show up over there.
Oh yeah.
But you can tell them what they need to know
only.
So that you can be safe and they can be safe. But hopefully somebody learned something today. If you do need to exit an abusive relationship, you can definitely contact me. You can contact Beth for resources. We can give resources. I'm not a crisis interventionist.
Yeah.
So I can with the resources and I can tell you what to do. And my main advice is call them boys. Get them boys over there and have a plan of exit. So I want to thank you again, Beth, for coming through, and definitely I hope you come back once the book is released.
I will.
So we can go in depth and make sure that everybody buys the book.
Okay.
So you guys, I want to encourage you to follow me on Instagram and follow us at Stunner Radio on Instagram. Check out our website where you can recap all the shows from this week, last week, and beyond. And with that, we are going to leave you today with my song, my single for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, called Love Myself More, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Clear. Good job, guys.
All right.
That's good. Real smooth.
I love myself more. I love myself more. Okay, it's on again. You singing that same old song again. If you love me, you will stay no baby, but you won't again. My skin got used to losing. I just got used to choosing what you want or what I want, but now I'm sick and tired of losing. So we can take away the house and cars. Every day I got to live with the pain and scars from you. And all the years you had me thinking I was crazy, but you gon' learn today. Guess what? It's your time today. Boy, bye. I gotta go. Boy, you know I love you, but I love myself more. I just can't live like this no more. Boy, you know I love you, but I love myself more. I gave you years of your life. I thought that you loved me, but I'm wiping these tears to live my life, cause I gotta love me. I ain't got no tears for you. I gave all these years to you. Everything you put me through, the things you say I made you do. You say I'm fat, ugly. You say no one will love me. You say these things and turn around and tell me that you love me. I'm done with it. What's wrong with it? I don't wanna be bothered no more. I got a new life. God bless me. I don't need these problems no more. So you can wish upon the fall and start inside your foreign car. Oh yeah, I love you, but I love myself. Boy, bye. I gotta go. Boy, you know I love you, but I love myself more. I just can't live like this no more. Boy, you know I love you, but I love myself more. I gave you years of my life. I thought that you loved me, but I'm wiping these tears to live my life, cause I gotta love me. You say you love me, but then you hurt me. But see, I love myself more, boy, you don't deserve me. I'm worthy of my loyalty. I treated you like royalty, but I ain't gonna be around now, cause I gotta rock that crown now. Love myself more. I love myself more. Thank you so much for hearing me. I don't know what you mean about the boy, you know I love you. I just can't I gave you years of my life. I thought that you loved me, but I'm wiping these tears to live my life, cause I gotta love me. Because I want her face just like, you know. So it's being formatted now.
They are a mainstream urban nice an original trendsetter with authentic. Our reach is far and wide. Email us vanguardmediallc.com.
I'm thinking of all of you today. I know the rise in case numbers is causing fear and apprehension. People are frightened, and they're especially worried about their parents, their grandparents, loved ones who are most at risk. You know, this virus is tough, but we can stop the spread, but it's up to all of us to do it. We have to step up and do both the simple things and the hard things to keep our families and our neighbors safe. Wear a mask, wash your hands, stay home if you can, and socially distance when you go out. I want every single American to know, if you're sick, if you're struggling, if you're worried about how you're going to get through the day, I will not abandon you. We're all in this together. We'll fight this together. And together, will emerge from this stronger than we were before we began. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Girl, I ain't been home an hour from church, and I'm already in here drinking privacy wine and having an intimate, alone moment. I guess I'm just an angel with a dirty mind, and I'm good with that, because you know what I say. Let she who is without pleasure pour the first glass.
Yeah.
Pleasure starts when you touch my lips, privacy.
I mean, I ain't tripping.
Right?
But
Yeah.
that's what you gotta do. But I mean,
I know.
every time I heard it, I was like, what? Wait, what? Because we were talking.
I know. That's when I did it the first time. Everybody thought it was something was talking about.
I feel like
Passage, room, or secret.
When you get in the I just said credit, I'm only sitting on my pocket.
Joni sits
That's cool.
wellness products like pH balance soaps, detox steams, and home vaginal steams. We're all about helping you maintain your secret health in a healthy and natural way. We're using our citrus bar to help maintain the proper